talking about a little bit the new approaches with software and with CAD/CAM, which is also a part of your philosophy. The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Paul. First of all, of course, thank you to Paul and to Dance Verona. It was a great honor to come here and lecture for you today. And I have to say it's been a fantastic meeting. Great lectures, great organization, great food, great party. And the topic for today, as mentioned, is more focused in my lecture on the soft aspects of dentistry and implantology in particular. Usually when I lecture and I travel a lot, if I don't give this story, people are asking for it. I'm very proud of the history around dental implants in my office, and it's a very long one. I happen to be coming from Gothenburg, obviously, the mecca of dental implantology. And dentistry is in the genes, more or less, in my family. My father is still a working prosthodontist in my office. My mother's a dental hygienist, and nowadays I also have my brother working as a vice president for one of the companies. So it's really a long history, and my father was very fortunate to meet the father of the dental implant early on. He was a dental student in the University of Gothenburg, and at that time he had Pierre Bronnemark as his professor in anatomy. And Pierre Bronnemark wasn't allowed to do experimentation with patients at that time inside the university, so he was actually doing it in this basement facility. And this is not far from the headquarters of the implant company of Dance Verona, actually. And I was fortunate enough to meet Pierre Bronnemark many times. And many times I met him together with patients. And I know that we're discussing in these kind of meetings the skill sets that we have in terms of the surgical part of the treatment, obviously the prosthetic part of the treatment. But I have to say that a lesson that I learned very early on is that dentistry is a lot about the connection that you have to your patients. Now this man here, Pierre Bronnemark, he had an amazing skill set in terms of the emotional connection that he had to his patients. The way he touched the patients, the way he listened to the patients, the way he talked to the patients. That was really something that I picked up early on when I saw him together with the patients. And this patient here has a very special story. Because this patient had implants a long time ago. He was a taxi driver, and he was singing in a choir of taxi drivers. The problem was that he had dentures, so they were jumping up and down, so there was a little bit of a problem while he was singing. And one day, he picked up a customer in his taxi, and it happened to be outside Pierre Bronnemark's office. And that customer was the very first patient ever treated, Gösta Larsson, who was passed away, obviously. Now they came to talk to each other, and this patient said, you know, if you have trouble with your dentures, you should go see this crazy guy in the basement. He can probably help you with your problems. And that's what he did. And that was a long time ago, obviously, and the thing with these patients, obviously, is that beyond the fact that you have the skill set, again, with surgery and prosthetics, the way you maintain what you do over time, that is real dental implantology, if you ask me. Now, this patient, what you see here in the lower jaw, is the original framework. It has never, ever been changed. Yes, I'm a highly digital guy, but obviously I can appreciate what was done that long ago. It's the original framework. It was a smoker as well, the patient at that time. Nor did we consider the factors of smoking. In the upper jaw, the teeth have been changed once in all these years. And obviously we've seen this patient every 6 months since the patient got their dental implants. That is the journey of the patient and the customer. That is my concern every time I go to my clinic, every single day. And obviously this is not a discussion for this meeting. We see some marginal bone remodeling. Is it periimplantitis? Is it bone remodeling over time? Is this what we can expect? Because of course it's a lot of years of functioning in the patient's mouth. And unfortunately now this patient has passed away, but his reconstructions were in his mouth for more than 50 years. That is real success. That is true success, if you ask me. So obviously, the soft skill sets are the things that I'm looking a lot into in my clinic. And there are some key factors. I can't discuss all of them, but I will bring up 3 factors that I think are very important to having success in your business. Number one is to realize the fact that how you're selling the treatment, the way you approach the patient, what I call the customer, the way you look at employeeship, and the way we look at the new state of the workplace. Because my employees are getting younger and younger and younger. Our market used to be a specialist market. Now there are almost no specialists left. So there are an abundance of very young doctors, GPs. Those are the ones that I can hire. And the thing is that when you have a large office, I'm running 26 dental chairs. Now when you have 26 treatment units, you quickly realize that that's a lot of people. That's a lot of doctors, assistants, hygienists, and I have my own lab with technicians, and it's going to run every single day. And I would like to see that they are all giving the patient the same feeling, the same approach, the same type of information surrounding a dental implant treatment. So obviously, in any business today, we're always looking at the journey that the customer is taking. It's a very sort of popular word. So you're constantly asking yourself all these questions every single day. How can I increase my acceptance rate? How can I make my results a little bit better? And how can I make my team better? And if I don't have this, how can I really make it happen? There are a couple of things that I think is very central to being successful in business, what I realized. Obviously, we know that we have to serve every customer in a unique way. So, of course, one person at a time, that's the main purpose, because I want to keep my customers over time, so I can maintain the results, obviously, and to gain new ones. But more importantly, how can I have my employees transfer that goodwill to the patients? If I have a set of core values in my company, how do I get my employees to transfer that goodwill to the patients, to the customers, every single day? That's the same type of technique. So that's what I'm thinking of every day. And the thing is that when you're a dental implant provider, there are so many things to consider. So many aspects when you're getting into that type of treatments. And when I look at one of my clinics, so this is one of my clinics, I'm running 3 offices, one very large one, a couple of smaller ones. This is patients coming into one of the clinics last year. So it's around 1,300 patients. Now, out of these patients, where are the implant patients? Because sometimes I hear from my doctors, the GPs, as you know, Marcus, it's very funny because you get a very high acceptance rate, but you got all the good patients. You got all the patients who wanted implant treatment. And I say, but I can look exactly at every doctor, every team, how many patients they get every month, the gender, the age, what did they buy, where do they live, how do they approach the clinic. So all the statistics are there. And the thing is that I would like for them to work in the same way with customers. I have the same approach to the customers. Having the customers well informed about complications of a dental implant treatment, about successful options of an dental implant treatment. And the thing is that when you work more and more, and I've been a dentist now for more than 16 years, some things are more by default. Yes, we concentrate on what we're doing technical-wise, but I quickly realized that a lot of things are again attributed to the softer aspects. There's a lot of psychology when you're treating patients. So the soft skills is what we're trying to educate our doctors are what's most important firsthand. You have to become a good asker and a good listener. And we had a meeting in Nice last year when I met Paul for the first time, and I said to him, my doctors, they're forced to spend at least 30 minutes with the patients before they can even touch them. They have to be able to listen and ask questions, open questions, and register actually what the patient is looking for. Is it an implant treatment that they're looking for? And that is what I say is selling, because that's the art of selling. As it says here, selling a treatment is to help the customer to take an educated decision on what is best for them. Yes, I'm helping them to take the decision, but really they are the ones that are going to take that decision, and they need to be well informed for all kinds of factors surrounding the implant treatment. That is real selling. And the thing is that with an implant treatment, it's very special, it's very unique working in this type line of field, because looking at what people actually are buying, it's always the same thing. Doesn't matter if it's a tooth, an implant, if it's any type of product. The thing that we're buying is always the same thing. We're always buying something that is improving something for us. With the dental implant treatment, you can call it life transforming. I mean, there's nothing more life-changing than restoring a lost teeth. You all know this. You have these patients that are crying when they get their final reconstruction in place. It's an amazing situation, but it also brings a lot of responsibilities to us as doctors as to how we inform and approach the customer. Because obviously there are a lot of problems built into the fact of delivering the implant treatment. It's very expensive, it's very painful, it takes a long time. I'm going to lose my teeth, you're going to extract my teeth. Some of them want to have a quick fix, just place them in, do I have to come for follow-up, etc., etc. And the thing is that with all the techniques that we're having today, obviously we're using all of the aspects that we can to visualize the treatment for the patient. Because the more we inform them, the more we show them, the more educated they are, the more they value the aspect of the whole treatment. Because you can realize easily, but if you look at the whole treatment, getting the implant in place, getting the prosthetic reconstruction in place, that's just a small part of the treatment. The real journey starts after. Because now we have to follow up this implant for the rest of your life. Now you have to invest time, year after year after year, to visit my office. And you can easily realize, if you look at the business side of the patient, where do you think you make the most amount of profit? Because we can simply open. We have to have some type of profit to run an office. Is it to do the implant treatment, like selling the car, or to service the car? Obviously, I make more money out of following the results that we did. Maintaining the results. That's the key. That's what I want my customers. And I want my employees to transfer that idea to the patients. I want them to be engaged in the ideas and the visions that we have for our clinics. And it's quite difficult because, again, the marketplace is so different. The people that I can hire are not the same today as it were 5 years ago. So we have many different ways and systems as to encourage, to involve the staff members, to feel engaged. And as it says here, the most valuable employee is the one that sees the company as their own company. So one thing that we do every year is this. So we divide the entire fiscal year in the months, and every single month we focus on a specific area in the clinic. So if materials and equipment, if that's the dental implants, that's March, there's a specific group of 4 to 6 people, and they're fully devoted as to that aspect of the clinic. Now they have a very nice feeling. They feel involved, included. They are with me taking the decision as to what is best for the company. Next month we will shift and we'll look at something else. So every single month there's a group going around the clinic working with the different aspects of dentistry. And that brings out more of the employeeship, in my opinion. And the thing is that when you look at employeeship and you look at engagement in the workers that you have, there are very nice research and studies done on this. This one, Gallup, for example, every single year that they make huge surveys of companies in different areas in society. And what we look here, what we see is that obviously there's a higher profitability here, but look at safety incidents. 48%, 37% less absentees from work if you have the employees engaged in what they're doing. So obviously that's very, very important. Problem, again, I have very young clinicians working for me. Now they're not considering dentistry the same way I am. I was brought up slightly more conservative. I did a specialist degree, but they are on another frequency. At the same time, they want to be very engaged. If they're not engaged, they're not willing to work. And the thing is that the number of engaged people that you have among your employees are not that many. So you want to increase that number. And again, Gallup is looking at this every single year. 180 million employees. That's a lot of people. And look at the numbers. The number of engaged people is around 13%. Now, the not engaged people, 63% overall, those are the people that still go to work every single day. They make a very nice work, but they're not that willing to undergo education or not be overly engaged in what we're doing. Problem is that you have also some people that are actively disengaged. Those are the ones that are a little bit dangerous because they can destroy your company. Those are the ones, and you all know in your offices, Marcus, why do you have to do this? Why do we have to buy this machine? The other one was very good. Why do we need this one? And that person can destroy the culture for more of my staff members. So I would like to increase the engaged workers so they can influence the non-engaged workers to be more engaged. And then in the end, what they do, that they destroy the last group. That's how you go about it. And I came up with this report quite recently. This is done by LinkedIn. Pretty big one. It's around 4,000 people that are interviewed. And again, they're focusing a little bit on the same aspect. Because what I'm constantly considering is as to how can I educate my doctors? What are the frequency? How are they ticking? And there were some conclusions done in this study, and there were 5 of them that are sort of the key points. I'm not going to name them all, but you see on number 1, soften the impact of automation. Number 1 priority, train the soft skills. Start with the soft skills first, then move into the more tougher things. But number 3 and number 4 are very interesting. So if you look at number 3, the rise of digital, online learning.